and welcome back to episode 2 of Into the Massiverse, where we are going to be discussing Crown of Midnight, the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I have two special notes to start off this particular recap with. Number one is that I forgot a character in my recap of book 1, who is, of course, a fan favourite, very important to the plot of this book in particular, my girl Fleetfoot. It doesn't impact the plot of book 1 a lot, but it also adds to just how amazing Dorian and Selena are. For Yulmers, Dorian gifts Selena a ton of sweets because my girl's got a sweet tooth. We respect that. And a dog. Literally, Selena Sardothian, assassin extraordinaire, is a dog mum. And all the fans of Throne of Glass love Fleetfoot, okay? And Fleetfoot is relevant to things that happen in this story. So I actually could not believe watching video 1 back that I forgot to mention her. So shout out to Fleetfoot, the adorable golden puppy who we see grow throughout the books. I'm so sorry to everyone who was upset that I forgot to mention Selena getting Fleetfoot in book 1. And point 2, today we are recapping what I'm going to admit right now is actually my least favourite book in the entire series. To be fair, that's really saying something because Crown of Midnight is a good book. I just think when compared to the others, it's the one that I find less interesting. Even though this book ends with the reveal of the series. Something that I guessed from a few pages in of book 1. It is truly phenomenal. So with that in mind, let's get ready to step even further into the Massiverse and discuss book 2 in the Throne of Glass series, Crown of Midnight, which, if you can't tell, is this little earring I've got here. It's a book! Isn't it cute? That's Crown of Midnight. So, book 2 starts off straight after book 1, unsurprisingly, and Selena is doing her job as the new King's Champion. Now, obviously, Homegirl got threatened at the end of book 1 that if she did not kill who the King of Ardlan wanted her to kill, he was going to take out his frustrations on her friends, which you think would be enough to keep someone as selfless and kind as my girl Selena Sardothian in line. Turns out, however, Selena realizes that the King of Ardlan is just getting rid of anyone who opposes him, who are, in essence, the good guys. And it wouldn't be right for Selena, who is, in fact, one of the good guys, to go around killing other good guys. So what she does on the DL is basically pretend to kill people. She starts weaving a massive web of lies, which we find out as the series goes on. My girl Selena, it's second nature to her, okay? She's a real good liar. She basically is helping all of the people the king instructs her to kill flee from Ardland and fake their deaths. So we've kind of got Selena doing everything she can to undermine the King of Ardlan, who we know she really does not like. For reasons that seem logical, he put her in prison. But there's always the hint that there's more than that. There's more than that to it. Homegirl really hates him and is kind of scared of him, but not scared enough to stop doing what's right. So she's given the name of this guy, Archer Flynn, to go and assassinate. Turns out, Selena knows this guy. We find out that Selena obviously grew up in the capital city and so grew up alongside Archer. While Selena grew up being trained to be an assassin, Archer is a professional courtesan. And you find out that those two very much illegal worlds obviously overlap and intertwine. The city's courtesans are pretty close with the city's assassins. So when Selena gets Archer's name on the list, she is like, what on earth has Archer Flynn, of all people, been doing to catch the king's attention? So Homegirl hunts him down. And obviously he's like, oh my god, Selena, what the hell? Because, in case you've forgotten, she's going under the pseudonym of Lillian. You know, people think that she's this lady that won this competition, but Archer knows who she really is. I should have done, like, quotation mark, really is. It's the book for that kind of stuff. And they have a conversation where she's like, dude, why is the king after you? Like, I've been given a month to wipe you off the map, as it were. I need you to get on board with faking your own death and getting the hell out of here. But my man Archer, he's a suspected rebel leader. Turns out, Archer's rebel movement are trying to hunt down the supposed lost princess of Terrasen, the nation to the north of Ardlan, Aelin Galathinius. And we get one of my favourite lines in the entire series. where she looks him dead in the eye and says, Aelin Galathynius is dead. Okay, and when you know what Celaena's job has been, you're presented with two options. Either Celaena has taken this girl out of action in years past, or Celaena knows things other people do not know about a missing princess of an enemy nation. Alert. Alert. This is where I knew the twist I'd called was in fact correct. Anywho, Archer gives her this big spiel about how finding this lost princess will help restore the honourable nation of Terrasen to its former glory. Because while the king of Ardlan is this conqueror, this subjugator of people, the former king and queen of Terrasen, they were the good guys. They lived in this beautiful, magical northern country of beautiful pine trees and plenty of magic. Now, rumours of Aelin Galathynius having escaped the assassination of her family have been around for a while. But Celaena is like, mate, barking up the wrong tree, girl be dead. Pack up your stuff, go along with my lie, we need to fake your death. But Archer's like, nah, babe, I have faith. I have hope. I've heard messages from this supposed Aelin Galathynius. To which Celaena's like, I really don't think you have. It's so good in hindsight, isn't it? I guess one of the biggest things I still remember from Crown of Midnight is the relationship between Celaena and Chaol getting cemented here. It turns from friendly and admirable to an actual romantic relationship. Because obviously she has friend-zoned Dorian. Dorian, my king, is respectful of that. They are like this. He's now got two besties. Bestie Chaol, bestie Celaena, okay? It just so happens that Dorian's two besties are now shacking up with each other. Chaol's obviously been conflicted about whether he should be with Celaena or with not, because, you know, she is an unaliver of people, but man killed Cain in book one, so he manages to build a bridge and get over that issue real fast, okay? He should be loyal to his king. He should be loyal to Dorian, but my girl Celaena is so good. You gotta look past those things, okay? To be fair, I'd turn traitor for Celaena, but hands down, in a second. Bae's got major riz. She literally just manages to work her way into his heart, and then on his birthday, she makes this cute romantic dinner, and man's a goner. Man is a total goner. One of my favorite moments involves a supply closet. Like, there's nothing like too spicy in these, but it's just the most Celaena Sardothian thing ever. I love her so much. Unfortunately, Chaol gets kidnapped. Like, the most thing ever. But yes, a ransom note gets sent to Celaena, who, as you can imagine, goes absolutely batshit crazy. We get to see Celaena Sardothian. This is the one point where you see, I guess, the former assassin really coming out to play. Because God does not like being blackmailed, okay? You do not blackmail Ardlan's assassin and live to tell the tale. So Homegirl gets out her swords, runs out into the city, and starts shish kebabbing the men that have crossed her. Turns out, okay, Archer has kidnapped Chaol. And so Celaena goes through and is attacking and killing a group of rebels who support Terrasen. Which, when all is said and done, is absolutely hysterical. These guys really support your home nation, girl. And you're just absolutely massacring them. But they crossed her, so she's in the right here. Archer tells Celaena that he's organized the kidnapping of Chaol because he heard that Chaol was due to interrogate Princess Nehemia about a supposed involvement in the rebel cause. Newsflash, Nehemia is involved with this rebel cause. And Archer did not want Nehemia being interrogated by Chaol and giving up their secrets. So Archer says, look, I slipped in, wiped Chaol off of the chessboard. But now it's very clear that it's not Chaol who is going to interrogate Nehemia at all. It's actually the king. The king's going to get Princess Nehemia, Celaena's friend, and probably torture answers out of her about this pro-Terrasen rebel group Nehemia's been helping out. That includes Archer and all his guys, who Celaena has just, let's say, made a very significant impact on. He also makes very clear that he is worried about Nehemia that she may die while being tortured and says that Kale knows that this is imminent. Kale is aware that the king is about to torture Nehemia. And so Selena's got like, why my boyfriend keep lying to me? Why my best friend about to be tortured? And obviously, girls got to stick together. So she releases Kale, even though she is not impressed with him at the minute because he's kept information about the whole Nehemia rebel situation from her, legs it back to the palace, and is too late. Because she finds Nehemia, her only real girlfriend, ATM, brutally murdered. So Selena obviously blames Kale, because Kale knew Nehemia's life was in danger and didn't tell Selena, so Selena didn't even have the opportunity to try and save her friend. Let's say we don't ever really recover the romantic relationship that was prior to this incident. They get to be happy together for like 5 minutes. But yeah, girls had a real night, okay? And she's still got assassin head on, so she goes for Kale. And I make her right. Which is when my man Dorian Havillard really starts taking more of an active part in the plot. Because obviously man is present. He's been in the wings. Very Kale adjacent, just not really driving a lot. But as Selena's going for Kale, guess what happens? Guess what happens? I'll give you 3 seconds. Dorian uses magic. Okay. Turns out Dorian has these latent magical powers, and he literally like freezes Selena. He saves Kale's life, and everyone's like, wow. Now, obviously, Kale's in a bad way at this point, so man doesn't see that his best friend A saved his life, but B has magic. So he becomes focused on trying to contain Selena, and he puts her down in the dungeons. Because, you know, girl is in like a homicidal rage, but he can't bring himself to leave her there for long. Because, you know, kind of meant to be her boyfriend at this point. So Selena's goal becomes finding out who killed Nehemia. She starts off assuming that it's Grave, the guy who actually came third in the Assassins competition. She fought him just before fighting Kane on the final day of the competition. So while Kane ended up dead, Grave's still alive. So Homegirl does what Homegirl does best to those who have crossed her, which is hunt the man down and remove him from this mortal coil. Turns out, still not it. That is perhaps the only real mistake I will say Selena Sardotian makes ever, okay? My bad. Grave wasn't involved. Man was innocent and she just kills him. But you know what? She gets a pass, okay? We're all allowed to make at least one mistake in life. That's literally the only one I can't defend, okay? So we're just going to sweep past it and move on. We then get the iconic scene of visiting the carnival in the city, which ends up having massive ramifications for several books after this. Because Homegirl finds a caravan with a witch inside, like a real bona fide witch. She's like, oh, great. Someone with some mystical powers. I'ma get some answers about who killed my friend. And Selena's found this riddle using weird marks. Obviously, Nehemia was teaching her them. And she's like, look, this is what's happened. I have a riddle written in this language that I'm kind of learning, but I'm not great at. Please help me. Magical mystical witch. And this is where we find out the big information that basically informs the rest of the entire series and may in fact be affecting other series of Sarah J Maas's. The witch in question, whose name at the time we find out is Baba Yellowlegs, we do later find out that she is one of the like witch clan leaders in the world. So she is regrettably a very important lady, so what Selena does is regrettable. This witch says, hey, this riddle describes 3 weird keys, like actual keys, that together can be used to open the weird gate. She says whoever has all 3 of these weird keys in their possession can open the weird gate and will wield power unlike anything anyone has ever seen in this world or others. So Selena's like, oh no, that really does not sound good. We are talking about world-ending magic and power. And at this point, the witch is like, yeah, that is really important information to know. Time to die. So Baba Yellowlegs attacks Selena inside this caravan. Baba Yellowlegs is an Iron Teeth witch. something we will definitely go into whilst discussing later books. But what you need to know now is this means she literally has iron teeth and iron claws that she can retract. So while she doesn't have a weapon on her, when she attacks Selena, Homegirl's got talons and teeth a-gnashing, okay? It's not looking good for Selena, who's totally not expecting to be attacked by what she assumes is this gypsy-like witch. Fortunately, this witch does not appreciate the woman she is attacking is very, very, very good at killing people. So they fight inside the caravan. Selena does what Selena does best. But she ends up with these scars from Baba Yellowlegs' nails. Like, she digs the claws into her. But she leaves and it's like, wow, that was not ideal. That's a lot of information to process. I nearly just died. Nehemiah's dead. My boyfriend's a loser. My other friend, he's got some magic. We don't know what's going on, and we're definitely not talking about it. We're going to avoid this topic because his dad has made magic illegal. So very, very dangerous for Dorian to be showing latent magical powers at this point. But she figures out what hints the riddle was giving as to where one of the weird keys is. But when she goes to collect it, the magical doorknob... hate him. Hate more. Hate the doorknob. The doorknob's stupid idea. But the doorknob's like, yeah, sorry. The king found that years ago. So Selena suspects that the king of Ardlin, he's collecting these weird keys, okay? Don't know why. Don't know what the actual overall plan is. But that the king of Ardland, he's got at least one. Selena reckons he's probably got two now because it's been years. He's been hunting these down for a long, long time. He's well ahead of Selena in terms of the weird key hunt. So Homegirl needs to get key 3 because if he gets all 3, man could like literally rule the world. And as it's explicitly said, if he can get the weird gate open, he can control other worlds potentially as well. So no pressure. No pressure, Selena, at all. So Selena thinks, hey, Nehemi was obviously looking into this. And because she's near the magic clock that allows you to portal through dimensions, or it has some magic to it, Homegirl uses weird marks to open up access to the realm of the dead. She wants to talk to Nehemiah's ghost. This is one of the most annoying parts of the story, okay? It's one of the big issues I have with Nehemiah. We get more about it in like the literally... might be the last book? One of the last books, for sure, when we get the mirror. Nehemiah just says to Selena, look, my death, it was necessary, okay, to progress things on in the way they are meant to be, okay? I needed to die. But Archer Flynn arrives just as the spirit of Nehemiah disappears with her cryptic message to Selena of like, babe, build a bridge and get over it. I had to die. I'm not mad about it. And this is where Archer Flynn majorly messes up, okay? Because he admits to Selena, look, actually, Nehemiah kind of left the rebel group. Like, she didn't want to be involved with us anymore because she didn't approve of the tactics I was using to try and take down the king. And I was really mad about that. So I thought long and hard about it, and she knew way too much. So I took Homegirl out and pretended, but did kidnap Kale, frame him a bit, get you involved to totally take the heat off of me. I want you to fully embrace the terrorist and rebel you should be. And being the girlfriend of the king's guard, that's not for you, okay? You needed to see him as the snake he is, even though Kale hasn't been a snake at this point. Dude's logic is so warped. He basically just wanted to get Selena on side and get rid of Nehemiah in the process and figured, hey, you know what I could also do? I could set this system up so I can get Selena on my side and really, hopefully, get her to kill Kale. Now, Selena acts like, oh, Archer, I totally get where you're coming from. Damn, that's like a me-level plan. You've yet to actually see a Selena-level plan, but trust me, it's nowhere near the level Selena's operating on. But she's like, oh, yeah, total respect. Yeah, good plan, good plan. Psych! You made a big mistake, man. She starts attacking him, not realizing this gate that she's opened to speak to Nehemiah in the ghost realm is still kind of open, okay? And this is when we get a creature from another dimension entering the passage they're in. Luckily for Selena, Dorian gets woken up by a prophetic dream, okay? He wakes up and's like, something's wrong. So he's gone and got Kale and's like, man, something's really bothering me. There is a disturbance in the force. Something magicals are happening somehow. I got a real bad feeling. Where's Selena? So they are looking for her down in the passages and happen to be arriving at the right time. So this monster's there. They all obviously are like, a monster. The monster runs back into the portal, and my poor baby Fleetfoot, okay? The puppy runs after the monster, okay? She's doing what she does best, okay? She's helping. She's scaring off the interdimensional being that looks like it's going to attack all the people she loves. So she chases it and ends up in that other dimension because she's just a baby. And I will admit, as much as I'm not a Kale fan, lots of people aren't. This is the one moment when whenever anyone is chatting shit about him, I say, whoa, whoa, whoa. He may have done things wrong. But Kale goes in to save the dog, okay? So he can't be a bad man. Now, this dimension they enter, it's full of magic, okay? It's like a hellscape. It's not a nice place to be, but there is magic here. So while Kale's trying to save the dog, Selena runs in after. And when Kale turns around and sees her, he realizes, homegirl, she ain't human. It's such a good reveal because when he turns around, she's like, whoa, what the hell? She's got pointy ears. She's looking glorious because homegirl is a fae, okay? Or at least here you see her as a fae because the world's full of magic. And when magic's present, homegirl can be a fae. That's what homegirl looks like. So he gets this little glimpse of her, like, true self. And they go back through the portal with the puppy. Selena kills Archer, because, you know, man is due a murdering. And it's like, whoa, we can't really come back from this. This is bad. Because Kale's a rule follower, okay? And the one thing the King of Ardlem will not stand, it's a magic. Now, Dorian, he's kind of keeping his magic on the DL. He's like newly forming magic. So he knows, as Kale's best friend, Kale's going to have a problem with that. Kale's not a fan of magic. Okay, and so Selena being revealed in this other dimension to actually secretly be Fae? Oh, Kale's not cool with it. Kale's not cool with it at all. And there's a great line. I can't remember if it's in this specific book or if it comes slightly later on, when Kale and Dorian are discussing Selena. And Dorian says to him, man, you can't choose which parts of her to love. And that's very, very much the message of the entire series. True love, the kind of love you should have for yourself. It should really be unconditional. Okay, you can't say, oh, I love everything about you but this, okay? And the problem with Kale and Selena as a relationship is Kale is very much like, I love everything about Selena, but the fact that she is a stabby woman, okay? That's in her past. That's who she is. Woman is a killer. Kale's not a fan of that. And now that her magic's revealed, guess what? Kale's not a fan of that either. And Dorian is just, he's so perfect. He's so brilliant. He's just so the best man ever. Because he's right. You can't choose what parts of her to love. This isn't a healthy, good basis for a relationship. It's got conditions. Your love for her has conditions on it. That's not true love. She's done nothing wrong. She just is who she is. And you've got to build a bridge and get over it if you want to be with her. And what ends up happening, like, spoiler alert, but not spoiler alert, Kale kind of does get over it, but also kind of doesn't. He moves on to pastures new, shall we say. The real growth he has in that respect is in terms of his relationship with Dorian, okay? Because the magic is about to be a problem. But they're besties. And really, as much as I love who Kale does end up with in the romantic sense in the books, I've got to say, the true love, the unconditional, the I accept every single part of you love, that's between Kale and Dorian. And when Dorian and Kale have this conversation about Selena that has stuck in my head so clearly, it's really emblematic, both of the whole series theme and something that Selena needs to learn to do, aka love every part of herself. But it's about them. It's about the bromance. And it is a good bromance. Like, oh, we're about to go through some rough times, but Dorian and Kale are so cute. Anywho, Kale decides in his infinite wisdom that now that he knows Selena is part Fae, okay? She isn't a Fae, she's part Fae. Probably not safe for her to be somewhere like Ardalan, okay, where magic is not allowed. If the king ever finds out that she has Fae in her, that she has Fae blood, He's gonna want her dead. So Kale decides to be a bit of a martyr and he goes to his dad, who is currently at the palace consulting with the king and is the Lord of Aniel. Now, Kale is his father, this lord's son and heir. He's the oldest. And so Kale says, hey, I want a favor. I want you to help me convince the king to let Selena go across the sea, travel to another country, go to Wendelin, which is a separate nation over the sea to the east, to assassinate the royal family in Wendelin. If you help me win the king's favor, agree to this idea, I will quit my job as a member of the King's Guard and I will come home and start preparing and getting serious about becoming the Lord of Aniel. And so Kale's dad's like, brilliant. Don't want you to be a guard. Want you to come home and actually, start lording about. So this scheme gets proposed to the King of Ardlan, who is a fan of it and lets the deal go ahead because the royal family of Wendelin were intermarried with the royal family of Terrasen. We're talking like sibling level close. We're talking intertwined families. We're talking a nation that's probably a bit upset that the King of Ardland massacred the royal family of Terrasen because they're related. Literally, if Aelin Galathinius is somehow alive, the crown prince of Wendelin would be her cousin. And the king does not want any supposed Terrasen rebel force that may or may not be involved with the missing princess Aelin Galathinius, who we do not know if she's alive or not. He does not want them getting any support from Wendelin. So he's like, brilliant, great, send my assassin to Wendelin and get her to kill the rest of this family, okay? Kill that prince. Let's nip in the bud any potential involvement of this foreign nation in my affairs, okay? We've scrapped the whole Terrasen royal family-ish. And now we're going to cut off any ties with the Wendelin royal family. So we end the book with a parting. This is the point at which our core trio are going to be splitting up. And the next time they see each other, things are not going well for pretty much any of them. We get a very bittersweet parting of Selena and Kale at the docks as she is about to board this ship on an assassination mission to go and kill the Prince of Wendelin. And she catches Kale up on what she's found out about the weird keys. She tells him about this creature she and Dorian have killed and makes it very clear to him that the King of Ardland has some big nefarious plan she doesn't understand and know the minutiae of, and that she's not going to be in Ardland anymore to try and figure things out. So she kind of dumps this on his lap and is like, hey, look, I know you're loyal to Dorian, you are loyal to Ardlan, you are an honorable and a good man, but you need to know that this is going on, and I think bad things are about to start happening. Just as she's about to leave, just as she's about to head off, she leaves him with a bit of a riddle about the truth of it all. And it turns out, back in her room at the palace, Selena's left a book open. Okay, and it's a book about the royal family of Terrasen. Because you find out that the royal family of Terrasen, the royal family of Ardlan, the royal family over in Wendelin, they've all been related back in the past, okay? Royal families, they intermarry, etc., etc., etc. And the Terrasen royal family had very recently had Fey blood reintroduced to their line. The Queen of Terrasen was part Fey, and she came from a family known as the Ash Rivers. So the full name of the missing princess of Terrasen is actually Aelin Ashriver Galathinius. And that there's something really cool about the Ash Rivers. There is an inherited physical trait. And as he's reading in this book, there's a little poem about what that trait is. It basically says, if you look in the eyes of an Ash River, you will see a ring of gold. To which Kale is just stood there looking at this book, thinking about his now ex-girlfriend with her beautiful blue eyes that happen to have a ring of gold in them. That's that. Kale is just stood there at this desk as Selena sails out of Ardlan on the ship he's put her on and gone out of his way to put her on, realizing I have just sent Selena Sardothian over to Wendelin. Selena Sardothian is actually Aelin Ashriver Galathinius. the last living member of the royal family of Terrason. And she's going to Wendolin because that's where we think there will be allies for the Terrason rebels. Send her to the one place. She's got family. And Kale has to be confronted with the fact that he's basically just committed treason. Because RMC, Selena Sardothien, who we have come to fall in love with over 2 books where she is just iconic, she is lying, she is scheming, she is assassinating people. She is, in fact, this hidden princess, the only real big threat to the King of Ardalan. And this is the very good reason why she has always been so sketchy around the king. She always has her like hood up. She always keeps her head down. She's all like, King of Ardalan. Yeah, of course she is. He killed her family. He would literally kill her. And she's kept her head down and been quite subservient. Because if the man looked in her eyes, he would know, oh my God, this is literally my enemy. It's such a good reveal, guys. It's so good. And it's so funny that it's Kale that he only figures out, she basically tells him, she leaves the book open on that page, tells him she's about to get on that boat, and's like, psych. You're my friend. I care about you. Here is this mission. But I'm going to go off and start playing at international politics. And thus ends Crown of Midnight. On such a solid note, on the first iconic Sarah J Maas cliffhanger in existence. That is so good. That is so game-changing. It recontextualizes what you've seen and what you've heard in book 1 and for the majority of this book. And what is then genius is the next book in the series, it's a delay. It takes you back in time. It's prequel time, because with the information you've now got, Selena Sardothien is Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, Crown Princess of Terrason, actually Queen of Terrason. She's got no other family in the line. She's the Queen of Terrason. All she needs is a crown. You are about to see the events that happen pre-Throne of Glass. We are going to jump back in time to the iconic freeing of slaves in Skulls Bay and find an awful lot out about how Selena ended up in Endovia, who betrayed Selena and got her there. And guys, just before we move on, okay, before we're allowed to follow Aelin across the sea, and this is where we start calling her Aelin, okay, from Eirafar onwards, that's her name. We're calling her Aelin, that's who she really is. Before we start any of that, before Dorian starts exploring his magic, before we get to meet the perfect man, Rowan Whitethorn, we are going to have to go back in time and meet Sam Courtland, the love of Selena Sardothien's life, who you know, from having read books 1 and 2, is definitely dead. Definitely dead. And one thing I want to say, just before we wrap up this video, something that I haven't mentioned before, but it is important to know and important to hear before you read, or we summarize Assassin's Blade. Whenever she's up against something tough, whenever the odds are against her, when she's about to fight Cain, before she's about to do anything really, really cool or scary, Selena Sardothien says to herself, and it is this iconic line in pretty much every book, okay? I am Selena Sardothien, and I am not afraid. She bigs herself up. She bigs herself up, okay? It's already been said several times. You associate, that's her catchphrase. We're about to find out where that comes from, or more accurately, who that comes from. And as a little additional note, if you could please share this with anyone who you think will find this content useful, I would be incredibly grateful. These videos have taken an awful long time to shoot, so I would really appreciate you helping me get them in front of the people that these will prove useful to. If you've liked it, please actually like the video, comment what you thought, comment on anything you think I should have mentioned and have missed out so that we can help more people blitz their way into the Massiverse. Please just share where you can. Tell people about this series. Don't leave me here speaking out into the digital void. I've done this because I'm hoping it will help people. So please help me help others work their way through this and prep for future Sarah J Maas releases. Rant over. And on that note, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I'll see you in episode 2 as we delve even further into the Massiverse. Thanks for watching.